Welcome to GOV TV. I'm Eric Curry. We have several topics lined up for you today. We'll share with you the 2014 board goals adopted by the Wake County Commissioners recently. Plus, we'll share with you details on the latest news involving Wake County parks. But first, as Wake County continues to gain new residents to one of the most desirable places in America, eventually the Wake County Public School system will have to find a way to accommodate all of the new students, which finding more space and building more schools to meet that demand. Recently, the Wake County Board of Commissioners and the Wake County Board of Education approved an Interlocal Agreement, or ILA, to establish collaboration for the process of site acquisition, design, and construction of school buildings and to promote a great working relationship. Joining us to talk about this groundbreaking agreement is Wake County Deputy Manager Johnna and Joe Desmormeaux, Assistant Superintendent of Facilities for Wake County Public Schools. Thank you so much for being here. Why was there a need for an interlocal agreement?
Well, Eric, thanks for having us here. And last fall, the voters approved an $810 million bond for school construction. The total building program is going to be about $1 billion. The county has responsibility to fund school construction according to state statute. The school board has responsibility for deciding what type of schools to build and where to build them. I think the commissioners and the board wanted to come together before we embarked on another building program of such a large dollar volume to make sure that we were poised to collaborate well. We've collaborated some in the past, but I think they wanted to maybe take a different step toward formalizing this for this building program.
Yeah, and also thanks for inviting me. The interlocal agreement allows us to formalize what's been a great staff collaboration in the past and provide an avenue to actually improve on that and make it, let us take advantage of the expertise of both staffs.
What were some of the issues that both boards wanted to address with this ILA?
Well, I think from a staff perspective, the biggest issue may have been deciding how much detail to put into the interlocal agreement. Once the idea came about creating a core team made up of key staff members from both the county and the school district, that issue was a lot simpler. And now that core team is looking at that, creating a document in order to put together that collaboration.
And what are some of the key components of this ILA?
Well, I think the key component of the ILA was really establishing the core team. And so over the last month, since the ILA has been approved, staff has been working on developing a document that outlines how we'll do this collaboration. It addresses what key tasks we're going to do, the frequency, what board actions are going to be required by both the Board of Commissioners and the Board of Education. It looks at the resources and staffing needed. It looks at work products and deliverables in areas like building program assumptions, building appropriations, site acquisition, site construction. So it touches on all the areas for which both the county and the schools have responsibility for and really details out what you can expect from the collaboration.
And what should taxpayers take away from the approval of this ILA and this agreement between the two governing bodies? What should taxpayers really take away from this?
I think that they'll see that there's a focus on an increased understanding and collaboration between the school district and the county, and with an emphasis on supporting education through a building program that provides the best teaching and learning environment, but with the right balance at looking at the taxpayer dollar.
Joe Desmormeaux, the Assistant Superintendent for Facilities for Wake County Public Schools, and Johnna, Wake County Deputy County Manager. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we'll share with you highlights of the Board of Commissioners' 2014 board goals. Stay tuned.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww. You should pick that up.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how. Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
The Wake County Board of Commissioners recently adopted its 2014 board goals and objectives. The goals are set like a game plan for commissioners to follow as they prioritize the issues in providing the resources necessary to keep Wake County vibrant and competitive. Joining us to talk about the 2014 board goals is Chairman Phil Matthews of the Wake County Board of Commissioners. Thank you so much again for being here.
Good to be here.
Can you share with the viewers why board goals are needed?
We use the board goals somewhat like a roadmap as to the remainder of this year and years down the road as to what we want to do to make Wake County grow, be able to provide the funds needed on that game plan. And as we accomplish those goals, we can check them off, and we use that as a unit of measurement of sorts to see where we're at and how we're progressing. So those goals are very important, and we at our annual meeting, we pay close attention to those things, make sure we got them covered correctly.
And that was my next question. How are the board goals developed? I guess it all starts at the retreat.
At our retreat work session, we instruct staff of some of the things that we're looking at, then they compile all those items together, and we can look at a list of, it could be 20 or 30 different items as we do this, and we try to prioritize the top 10 of those that we think we can really do some things with. Then anything that's left over, it'll roll over to the following year. So it's just constantly scrolling up, but as we check something off, it moves up. So it's a working document.
Okay, and the viewers can see on their screen the board goals listed here: fiscal strength, community health and vitality, education, public safety, community partnerships, and effective and efficient government operations. And if you step back and take a look at why Wake County ranks so high on a national level, these goals are major reasons for that. How do you work with staff to make sure that these priorities continue to be addressed?
What we do, it's somewhat of a game plan, I guess, of the entire year as to what we're going to be doing. Idyllic budget will play into that, emergency services. So many of these things have a direct correlation with our budget, because if we're going to do any of them, obviously we got to fund them and determine where that's going to come from, or how much we're going to fund those particular items. Emergency services is a good example of that. We're considering an emergency operations center. Of course, we need one. Ours is outdated. So as one of those target items on our list, right now we're looking at different areas throughout the county we could potentially have it, the cost factors and things of that nature. So that's a good example of how we deal with those type goals. So staff are constantly working on those things.
Well, Chairman Matthews, we know you're so busy, but thank you so much for taking time to join us again on GOV TV to talk about the 2014 board goals.
Absolutely, and this is a great opportunity that what we're doing here for the citizens to see exactly what we are doing and going online and give us feedback, because all the commissioners, we do work for the people. They can email us or call us with their concerns or suggestions, and especially emails. I look at those extremely close and respond to all of them. So I encourage all of the citizens of Wake County, touch base with us, let us know what you think, and we'll all be talking about it one day.
Thanks again, Chairman Matthews.
Thank you.
When we return, we'll share with you what Wake County Human Services is doing to protect citizens against bats and rabies. Stay tuned.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy. Oh, and she even talks to it. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Almost 1,000 bat species can be found worldwide. In fact, bats make up a quarter of all mammal species on Earth, but they can also bring diseases that are harmful to humans. Joining us to talk about bats and rabies are Diane Brewer and Judy Hardy, both registered nurses with the Rabies Control Division for Wake County Human Services. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I guess the first question, what is rabies?
Rabies is a very serious illness that can only be prevented, not treated. A person can contract the rabies virus by coming into contact with infested saliva or brain tissue of a rabid animal.
Now, do bats in North Carolina carry rabies?
Yes, they do, but only a small percentage of the bats in North Carolina carry the rabies virus.
Okay, what constitutes an exposure to a bat? A lot of folks, you know, we talk about the wild animals out there, raccoons and what have you, but very rarely people talk a lot about bat exposure.
Well, some people can be exposed to a bat and they actually know. You know, if they're outside and one comes down and flies and actually comes into contact with their skin and they're left with a scratch. A lot of times it's hard to tell whether that was a tooth or a nail from the bat, so we would have helped them evaluate that. What people don't realize is that a bat inside your home does constitute an exposure. Now, if you see it come in with you because you're bringing in groceries, that kind of thing, and you saw it and it flew back out, then that's not an exposure because you were awake and you knew that it didn't come into contact with you. The biggest issue is when someone wakes up in a room with a bat. Bats can actually bite you and you not be aware of it. They have very tiny, fine teeth. So if you are awakened by a bat that's actually flying around in your fan, or you wake up and there's one by the window, your dog is playing with it. If you have a child that's sleeping or an infant that can't tell you that they did not come into contact with the bat, or someone that had diminished capacity and is not able to tell you, then that would definitely constitute an exposure.
Now, if you have a bat and you wake up and you see one in your bedroom or just flying around the house is one thing, but obviously if you see one bat, there could be more. And what if there's a colony of bats in the attic? What should you do?
If you just find one, you can actually close off that room and call animal control in your area, and they can actually come and get the bat and test it. We do recommend that you not let them go. A lot of times animal control can go up and they'll look to see if you have an infestation in your attic, which does sometimes happen. If this happens, it's kind of a sticky situation because between May 1st and August 1st, they cannot be killed or released. So bats that are in your attic for that period of time are actually protected. They do help with insect populations. So the North Carolina Wildlife Commission actually recommends that you just sit tight. Usually if there's that many bats in your house, they will not test one bat that's found, because if you have that many, the odds are that you may have been exposed to other bats. So actually the people in that household, it would be recommended that they receive rabies vaccines.
And obviously if there's a bat flying in the room, whether it's in the den or in the bedroom, and you have a pet, it's obvious to assume that you have to get your pet checked out as well.
Very good point. That's why people a lot of times will say, well, I have an indoor cat, I don't have to have that animal vaccinated for rabies. But this is one of those instances where if you have someone that has one bat and they're exposed and they have it tested and it's positive, if the animal is not up to date on its rabies vaccines, then they have to actually be quarantined for 6 months, or they have to be euthanized. If they're up to date, then they just need a booster, which is a very easy fix. But again, you're looking at some hard decisions if the animal is not up to date and there has been a rabid bat in the house.
And what is the recommended treatment if someone is exposed to rabies and the bat isn't available for testing, which is so important?
Yes, it is. If a person is deemed qualified to receive the rabies treatment, they must present to a local emergency department to initiate the vaccines, because at the first visit they must receive what's called HRIG, human rabies immunoglobulin, which provides the person some almost immediate immunity to the rabies virus. And at that time they also receive the first of a series of rabies vaccines. That is considered day 0 of treatment. And then on days 3, 7, and 14, the individual would receive a subsequent rabies vaccine.
Is it hard to find bat bite marks?
Very. They're very tiny. Most people that have been exposed and even bitten aren't even aware that they were bitten, which is why it's so important not to let the bat go. If you wake up, close the windows, close the door. If it's somewhere in the house and you can put a bucket over it and weigh it down, because they're very small and they will, some people will wrap it up in a towel and put it on the porch, and by the time animal control gets there, it's not in the towel, because they're very tiny and they can scoot out from under things and through things. So if you put a bowl or a bucket on them, weigh it down with something, call animal control, and just don't touch the bat. Animal control will come, they'll get it, and they'll actually submit it for testing.
So how can citizens find out more about this important issue?
Actually, they can go to a CDC website, they can go to wakegov.com. We have a myriad of different issues that'll cover bats, wild animals, domestic animals, and rabies. You'll also find lists of rabies clinics for your pets. If you find a bat in your home or you think you've been exposed to one, you just need to call the animal control that's specific for your area. And then if you see your physician or you have questions, we'll gladly help someone evaluate whether it was an exposure, whether it constitutes getting rabies. So our number is 919-250-4462.
Okay. Well, Diane Brewer and Judy Hardy, rabies control nurses for Wake County Human Services, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Coming up, we'll meet the newest commissioner on the Wake County Board of Commissioners, Rich Gianni. Stay tuned.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
There's recently been a change on the Wake County Board of Commissioners. Tony Gurley resigned his seat in February for District 3, and the board has recently appointed Rich Gianni to fill that seat. He joins us now. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and giving me an opportunity to introduce myself.
Well, this is your first time being on GOV TV, so I wanted to start by just having you tell the public a little bit about yourself.
Started my career actually in the steel industry. Started out as a field accountant and worked out of a trailer. And worked my way up through into auditing positions and cost positions. So really started out my career kind of was a nuts and bolts accountant, understanding the cost of an organization and how the operations run. And spent some time in the steel industry, and back in 1990 actually got a position down in Georgetown, South Carolina as a manager of forecasting and budgets for a $250 million mini mill. And that was going well, but you know, that was a time when the steel industry was going through some problems. And I knew in order to better myself and better my career, I needed to get out of the steel industry. And you know, that was a time when technology was it. And got an opportunity to move here to Wake County, specifically Cary. So in 1992, we moved here to Wake County. And pretty much most of my career since I moved here has been in startup companies. And I've had lead financial roles in these startup companies. I have, back in 1996, I got my MBA from Duke University. And I do have a CPA, which I got back in '88 in West Virginia.
So that's all about yourself. Tell us why you're interested in serving on the board and what you're looking to bring to the board as the new commissioner.
There are a lot of discussions going on in Wake County now that I think are very good and important discussions. There are things talking about what we need to do with transit and what we need to do with the building of schools and how we fund our safety and how we fund our human services. And I'd like to be part of those discussions. I think that my background, my finance and my management background gives me a lot of the tools that can help to make those decisions.
And that you will faithfully discharge the duties as County Commissioner of Wake County, North Carolina, so help you God.
I do, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wake County has been ranked one of the best places to live in the country, and that's an issue that the board really has, the other board members have said they want to keep working on. Are there any key aspects of that you're interested in or that you hope to work on as a board member?
You know, a lot of people get into these types of positions and they have an issue. They have a particular issue that they want to address. I don't come into it with that. I actually come into it from the perspective is I want to look at everything in the context of all the things we need to do. And as I mentioned earlier, I think we need to strike a good balance on what we need to do. And we need to get the input, we need to do the research, we need to plan well, and we need to operate efficiently. And I think, as I said earlier, that my business experience will help us to be able to do that. You know, we're in the process now of building schools, and how do we do that in the best way, and how do we do it to save costs? And so those are the types of things that I think that I can offer help in.
How important will it be for you to get input from the public as you're working with the board and as part of the board?
I think it's very important. In fact, I think there are two groups of people that I think are very important that I want to talk to, and that is the taxpayers, because everyone has their own concerns and their own needs. In addition, there's a lot, the county employees are very important. There's a philosophy of management by walking around. And that's where you get in, you talk to the people that are actually doing the work. And truthfully, I may not be the person that could come up with the great ideas. It's those people that have the good ideas. They work in these things day to day.
Commissioner Gianni, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself to the citizens, and I look forward to working for them.
Eric will be here next with information about the parks. We'll see you after a short break.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today I'm just an aluminum can, but one day I could be a stadium.
And welcome back. One of the reasons why Wake County is considered one of the best places to live, work, and play is because of the county's wonderful parks and open spaces. Wake County parks have everything you could ask for, from its wonderful trails and lakes to preserving the rich history of our county. Wake County Parks has something for everyone. Joining us to talk about the latest news about the park system is Emily Catherman, the park manager at Historic Oakview County Parks. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Emily, please share with us a little bit more about Wake County's Parks and Open Space program.
Yeah, like you said, we offer a wide variety of recreational opportunities, and you can learn about the cultural identity of Wake County and the natural history of the area at any of our facilities. We have 8 park and trail facilities spread throughout the county that are visited by over 1 million people every year. So at each of these parks, there's an opportunity to do something a little bit different. Many of the things you mentioned, there's a wide variety of things that you can do. The Wake County Park System also runs an open space program that is centered around protecting water quality in the county through targeted land acquisition. So far, the park system has protected 5,400 acres of land, and we're working towards the goal of conserving 30% of the total land area in the county. So those are the 2 big facets of the Wake County Park System.
What's some exciting news coming down the pipe for Wake County Parks?
Well, probably the most exciting thing that's going on right now is we're working towards opening 3 of our open space properties in the eastern part of Wake County. Robertson's Mill Pond, which will offer canoeing and kayaking opportunities to the public, the Proctor Track, which should feature equestrian trails, and the Turnip Seed property, which will offer nature and hiking trails. And this encompasses over 900 acres of land that will now be open and accessible to the public for the first time. So right now it's in the planning stages, but be looking for more information in the coming year on these properties.
What's going on within the parks that families and even couples can finally get out and enjoy the parks?
Well, this is definitely the time of year, and everybody's been a little stir crazy over the winter, so this is the time of year to get outside. There's always a lot going on from day to day within our park system all over the county. There's countless recreational opportunities, hiking and biking trails. We have picnicking, either in shelters or just coming along and finding a picnic table and having a picnic with your family. Playgrounds and play areas. A lot of our parks have fishing and boating opportunities. In fact, the boat rental season at Lake Crabtree County Park is opening up here on May 3rd, so that kicks off that season. Always something really fun to do with your family. And then if you're looking for something a little more educational to get out and do, we offer a wide variety of public programs. You can check our website at any time and see all the countless numbers of things you can sign up to do. You can also visit a lot of our parks and do self-guided activities and check if you don't want to sign up for a program and get a guided tour. You can kind of show yourself around and check out an activity kit or take a cell phone tour at any number of our parks. One interesting thing that's going on right now at Historic Oakview County Park, if you're looking for something educational to do, we have an exhibit in the Farm History Center that's free and open to the public on Depression-era photography taken here in North Carolina, and that's up through June 8th, so something interesting to check out. Also coming up, June is going to be Health and Wellness Month in the Wake County Park System, so all of the parks in our system will be offering special programs and events that month that focus on health and wellness.
Okay, and in just a few weeks, we're talking about kids, especially in the traditional school calendar, heading for summer breaks. What kind of camps are being offered through the Wake County Parks this year?
Well, there's all kinds of different camp opportunities that you can take advantage of, depending on their child's interest or age or how long you want them in camp. At Blue Jay Point and Crowder District Park, there are some nature-focused mini camps being offered throughout the summer. Just check their websites if that's what interests you. At Historic Oakview County Park, we have a brand new farm-themed mini camp going on this year. This should be interesting. And if you're looking for full-day camps, Harris Lake has a lot of adventure-themed camps, maybe for some older aged kids, and Yates Mill has archaeology and pioneer-themed camps this year that are full-day. And then Lake Crabtree County Park is, again, offering sailing camps. So really there's something for every interest level out there. Just check the website for more details.
Okay, and any new park improvements that have been made over the winter that are now complete and ready for citizens to enjoy?
Yes, that's our time of year to make improvements to the parks, get some renovation work done. A lot's gone on this winter, particularly at Blue Jay Point County Park. We've had some very big renovations to the park out there. If you're a fan of going out to Blue Jay, you'll notice the Environmental Education Center has been completely redone, as well as the lodge out there. So they just recently reopened, so now's a great time to go out there and check out the new improvements that were made at Blue Jay. At Crowder District Park, some improvements were made to the playground out there over the course of the winter, and then currently going on right now at Yates Mill, they're doing some renovation work to the historic mill. So if you're looking to take a tour of the mill, it should reopen by the end of May, but it's definitely good to call ahead and check.
Okay. And finally, how do parents sign up their kids up for programs and or camps for the summer, and any other information for the citizens to find out more about all the parks?
Yeah, it's very easy to register. You just go online, click on our programs link. You'll see a registration form that you can print out, fill out, and mail in with your payment. Or you can always drop it off at the park near you where you want to register. Coming soon, we're in this process of looking into online registration and payment software, so that should be coming along very soon, which will make it even easier to register for our programs. So be looking for that. It'll also work for reserving picnic shelters, so it's something we're pretty excited about. And then if you just want to find out more information about what's going on in the park, there are a number of ways to do that. You can always call and talk to one of us in the parks, but very easy. Get online, visit us at wakegov.com/parks. You can sign up for email newsletters from your favorite park and get updates every month. You can like every one of our parks on Facebook and get instant updates. And just starting in the last month, you can now visit us on Instagram under the handle at WakeGovParks and see all the beautiful photos taken this spring around the county in our park system. Or if you're out in the parks and you're taking photos yourself, you can share them with everyone else there as well.
Emily Catherman, Park Manager of the Historic Oakview County Park, thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. That's all for our show. Keep up with the latest news by visiting us online at the new wakegov.com/news or on Facebook or Twitter. That's our show for today. Thanks for watching.